The morning sun cast long shadows across the weathered fence posts of Blackwood Ranch as I stood on the wraparound porch, coffee in hand. The property had been in my family for 6 generations, built in 1875 by my great-great-great-grandfather, who claimed this land before Montana was even a state. The main house, with its thick log walls and stone chimney, had witnessed the birth of the American West. Every plank, every nail, every stone held a story. I'd inherited it 3 months ago when my grandmother passed, along with the responsibility of preserving our family's legacy. Taking a sabbatical from my role as governor of Montana to settle her affairs had seemed like the right choice. Out here, away from the Capitol building and constant media scrutiny, I could finally breathe. That peace shattered at exactly 9:47 a.m. A silver Mercedes SUV came barreling up my private dirt road, kicking up a cloud of dust that would have made a stampede jealous. The vehicle screeched to a halt near my barn, and out stepped a woman who looked like she'd just left a country club luncheon. Designer jeans, a crisp white blazer, oversized sunglasses, and a leather portfolio clutched under one arm like a weapon. "Excuse me," she shouted, marching toward my porch with the confidence of someone who'd never been told no in her entire life. "Are you the owner of this property?" The way she said property made it sound like I was operating a junkyard. "I am," I replied calmly, setting down my coffee. "Can I help you?" She removed her sunglasses with dramatic flair, revealing eyes that could freeze lava. "I'm Patricia Hendricks, president of the Meadowbrook Estates HOA. We have a very serious problem." I blinked. Meadowbrook Estates? That's the development 2 miles down the road. "This is private property, ma'am. Has been since 1875. I'm well aware of when this structure was built." Patricia snapped, flipping open her portfolio. "That's precisely the problem. Your property is a blight on our community. Those fences are an eyesore. That barn is practically falling apart. And don't even get me started on those chickens I can hear from here." I felt my jaw tighten. My fences are historic. That barn has stood through 150 winters. And those chickens have every right to be here. Not according to Article 7, Section 3 of the Meadowbrook Estates Community Standards, she declared triumphantly, pulling out a thick document. All properties within visual range of our development must maintain certain aesthetic standards. That includes you. "I'm not part of your HOA," I said, my voice dropping to that particular tone I reserve for stubborn legislators who refuse to see reason. "This ranch predates your development by nearly a century and a half." Patricia smiled, but it was a smile of a shark circling prey. "Actually, when Meadowbrook Estates was established, we successfully petitioned the county to extend our jurisdiction to include all properties within a 3-mile radius that are visible from our homes. It's all perfectly legal. I have the documents right here." She thrust a stack of papers at me. I didn't take them. "And what exactly do you expect me to do?" I asked. "Well," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "we're prepared to be reasonable. You'll need to repaint all structures and approve neutral tones, beige, tan, or soft gray. Remove those rusted farm implements you have scattered around. Rebuild that fence to meet our standards, white vinyl preferred. Relocate or eliminate the livestock. And this house," she looked up at the log structure with barely concealed disgust, "will need significant renovation or possibly demolition." For a moment, I was speechless. This woman wanted me to erase my family's entire history because it didn't match her suburban fantasy. "You want me to demolish a house that's been here since Ulysses S. Grant was president?" I said slowly. "I want you to be a good neighbor and respect the community standards that maintain our property values." Patricia shot back. "I've already filed complaints with the county. If you don't comply within 30 days, we'll begin the legal process to force compliance. We have a lawyer on retainer who specializes in these matters." She pulled out her phone and started taking pictures of my property, the barn, the fences, my grandmother's flower garden, even my truck parked near the house. "You need to leave," I said firmly. "Right now." "I'll leave when I'm finished documenting these violations," she replied without looking up from her phone. She actually walked past me, attempting to circle around the back of my house. That's when I'd had enough. "Patricia, I called out. She stopped and turned. Let me ask you something. Did you happen to check whose name is on the deed to this property? Some Bennett, she waved dismissively. The county records show a trust of some kind. Doesn't matter. The law is the law. The law, I repeated. Right. And did your HOA lawyer happen to mention the Montana Heritage Property Protection Act? For the first time, uncertainty flickered across her face. What? It's a state law I signed 2 years ago. I continued, descending the porch steps. It protects properties over 100 years old from being subject to HOA jurisdiction or aesthetic requirements that would compromise their historic integrity. It was specifically designed to prevent exactly this kind of situation. Patricia's face was turning an interesting shade of red. You signed? I'm Governor Sarah Bennett, I said calmly, and you're trespassing on my family's protected heritage property. This ranch was placed on the Montana Historic Registry by my grandmother 5 years ago. That barn you call an eyesore? It's a designated historic structure. Those rusted farm implements? Antique equipment protected under state preservation law. The portfolio slipped from Patricia's hands, paper scattering across the dirt. You're the governor? Taking a sabbatical to handle my grandmother's estate. But yes, I crossed my arms. Now, about that HOA jurisdiction you mentioned. I'm going to have my attorney general look into exactly how your development managed to get the county to approve such an overreaching ordinance. Because from where I'm standing, it sounds like someone might have bypassed proper legal channels. Patricia's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. We didn't know, the lawyer said. Your lawyer gave you bad advice, I said. And now you've committed trespassing, harassment, and attempted intimidation of a state official. On camera, by the way. I gestured to the security cameras my grandmother had installed years ago. My head of security monitors this place even when I'm not here. The color drained from Patricia's face. She scrambled to collect her scattered papers, her hands shaking. This is a misunderstanding. I was just trying to maintain community standards. I didn't mean... You meant every word, I interrupted. You came onto my property, threatened legal action, demanded I destroy my family's legacy, and took photographs without permission. All because you think your HOA rules are more important than 150 years of Montana history. Governor Bennett, please, Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice taking on the authoritative tone I used in legislative sessions. You're going to leave my property immediately. You're going to withdraw any complaints filed with the county. And you're going to send a written apology to every property owner your HOA has harassed with these illegal overreach tactics. Because I guarantee you're not the first person you've tried this with. Patricia nodded frantically, backing toward her Mercedes. Yes, absolutely, I'll do all of that. And Patricia? I called as she reached her car door. The next time you want to tell someone their property is a blight, maybe learn its history first. This eyesore was here before your grandparents were born. It'll be here long after Meadowbrook Estates is a footnote in county records. She practically dove into her SUV, reversed so quickly she nearly hit my mailbox, and disappeared down the road in a cloud of dust even bigger than the one she'd arrived in. I stood there for a moment, heart pounding with adrenaline, then climbed back onto my porch and picked up my now-cold coffee. Through the window, I could see my grandmother's photograph on the mantel, her standing right here on the same porch in 1965, young and proud, holding the deed that kept this ranch in our family. That was for you, Grandma, I murmured. My phone buzzed. It was my chief of staff. Governor, we just got an interesting call from a Patricia Hendricks. She says she needs to speak to you urgently about dropping some complaints. I couldn't help but smile. Tell her the governor's office will be happy to receive her written apology and documentation of withdrawn complaints, and have legal look into the Meadowbrook Estates HOA. I suspect they've been bullying people for years. Already on it, he replied. How's the ranch? I looked out across the land, the ancient barn standing proud against the mountains, the fences that contained generations of cattle and horses, the house that had sheltered my ancestors through wars and depressions, and everything history could throw at them. Perfect, I said. It's absolutely perfect. 3 weeks later, Patricia did send that written apology. Along with it came news that the county had invalidated the HOA's expanded jurisdiction after my Attorney General's inquiry revealed improper procedure in its approval. Meadowbrook Estate's power was now confined to its own development, where it belonged. And my ranch? It stood exactly as it had for 150 years, weathered, proud, and untouchable, a monument to Montana families who built the state with their bare hands and refused to let anyone erase their legacy. Some things I'd learned are worth fighting for, especially when they've already survived a century and a half of everything the world could throw at them. One HOA, Karen didn't stand a chance.